Hey guys, Project Zacher here. Today we're going to be doing Act 2 Merciless in our power leveling series guide I've been working on. First thing you need to do is run through the forest to get to town, killing the monkeys on the way. We're starting this out at level 53, and then we're going to be moving on to the next act around level 69, 70. It becomes more of a power leveling grind now than more of a power leveling to skip past content. Just because the boss in this act is so difficult and so many people die on it, I like to out-level it a good amount. So we're going to do Fell Shrine farming, no shocker there. You can also do Western Forest, but it's a lot riskier with the exploding mobs, and it's just simpler to do Fell Shrine. I always want to be with the party when you're first starting out. If you're a low level, it's a little bit risky here. If you're 53, it's a level 59 zone. But we can do a lot of XPing here. We're going to be here from 53 to 69. So I hope you like Fell Shrine. I was here for a good 2 days grinding this like 4 or 5 hours a day. So you're going to be doing a lot of power grinding, power leveling here. You can start doing quests. I would say when you hit like 64, 65. I mean, there's no reason to start doing them until you're ready to kill the boss anyways. And just remember, group play, there's free-for-all and all these different kinds of loot systems. I typically try to make my own group and make it no ninja, and then just kick whoever's ninjaing things. Other than that, I like partying up with my viewers on my stream or just my buddies. It's going to be Fell Shrine farming for a long time. Another great thing is there's no resistance needed for this zone. Let me rephrase that. There's very low resistance. Most mobs here just do physical damage. So having capped resistance is not important. For the mobs here, there's a few that you need to watch out for. The rocks can roll on top of you, and they can do a good amount of damage. Other than that, just make sure you're with a group and you don't just overwhelm yourself and get surrounded. A lot of this footage has been cut down. I just hit level 56 there. I'm going to be tossing around lots of just leveling highlights or clips from going from 53 to 69 or 70. It's somewhat in those. Whatever you're more comfortable with. I was comfortable grinding here for a long time. I didn't feel like dying on Vaal, which can kill a lot of people. I know I'd say probably 20 to 30% of people who try him die. So I like to over level. I know you can do this, like some people do it at like 64 or 65, but there's no point because you're just going to be coming back here into leveling. I prefer endgame to over level things than besides grinding as fast as possible because we did that already. The power leveling is over. We got as high as we wanted to, and now we're at pretty much endgame content. We're going to be doing Act 2, and then as soon as we get into Act 3, we're going to start doing maps, which is the final step in Path of Exile right now, grinding maps up till level 100. Again, Fell Shrine, great place, high mob density, slow-moving skeletons and zombies. The rocks aren't too difficult. A lot of times we'll just skip the rocks altogether. I prefer this place much over Western Forest just because of the safety reasons. Western Forest is one level lower also. It's a level 57 zone. So I prefer something that gives more XP. After you feel comfortably leveled up, you're going to start doing the quests. And as we know, Chamber of Sins and Weavers are the first two you need to do. So when you're clearing Chamber of Sins, typically you want to go with a group. Just go slow. Watch out for the ice and the lightning skeletons. Necromancers can be a little bit of pain here, but just focus them down. The boss in here does a lot of lightning damage, so make sure you're capped on lightning resist, which can be a little difficult when you're minus 60% lightning element from being on Merciless. But once your gear starts building up from running Fell Shrine for 8-10 hours, you're going to be feeling a lot more comfortable when you're doing this boss. Also, a group helps and just shoot him with range. I haven't seen very many people die on this boss, but I have seen one or two. He hits pretty hard, and if you're not capped on resistances, he hits a lot harder. Next thing we need to do is get the Weavers. You need to watch out for Flicker Strike and Poison mobs because almost everyone's chaos resistance right now is very, very low, like -40 to -60. You need to watch out for the poison mobs. Other than that, the boss is fairly easy. Just do it in party, like I said. And now we need to go on to open up the Vaal ruins. Alright, we are at the river crossing, just clearing to find the ruins. Typically, this zone is very simple. If you're high level, just clear it. I did it by myself with one of my buddies, but we basically just went through slow, cleared everything. At this point in the game, slower is always better, just because of the difficulty of everything. Also, when you find the 2 pillars on the road, it'll lead you to a dirt path that will lead you directly to the entrance. And we decided to do this quest a little bit earlier than we were ready to do Vaal. So what we ended up doing is we did this quest at around like 65, but then we just went back to Fellshrine. We were getting a little tired of farming Fellshrine for 15 hours or 10-15 hours or whatever we were there. So we broke up the monotony a little with doing the quest. Alright, once you're done ready with that, you're going to need to go kill the bandits. The 3 quest rewards for the bandits are Endurance, Frenzy, and Power charges. So you can get one of those, or you can just kill all 3 bandits and get the extra skill point. I chose the extra skill point just because I don't use any power charges or any of the other. I use Endurance a little bit, but nothing too serious. So for the bandits, the first one we did was the Flicker Strike, nothing too difficult. Just make sure you stay out of range, and if he does get on top of you, just pop your defensive cooldowns. Next we do Western Forest, which is the corpse exploding zombie witch, which is really easy. And then the final one, which is the most difficult in my opinion, is Oak. Oak is what I call Mini Hulk. He just jumps around and smashes people. So I typically kite around and just never get in range for him to attack me. I like to hide behind the tents and things like that. And since I went dual totem with this build, which was my endgame build all along, I just used fireballs and Ice Nova to level up to a good point once you get all the skill nodes you need on the tree, and then you can switch over to dual totems. You're going to do a significant amount of damage when you first go to dual totems if you've leveled up your skills high enough, and it'll just make everything feel like a breeze, especially since we did all this content when we were like 69. So it makes everything very, very simple. Oak holds a lot, but other than that, it's just a slow grind burning through his HP. If you have a partner, that's always helpful. Alright, now we're going to move on to Vaal, and the first thing we need to do is go to Waterfall Cave. If you have the waypoint, which is great, you can typically get that from someone. I got this from a public party, I believe, and then I just made my own game with my buddy Spy Hunter. So we're going to just start clearing. There's a few chaos mobs here, the ranged vacuum cleaner looking mobs. They shoot damage, that's chaos. A few skeletons do elemental, but you want to have good elemental resistance at this point. And then you just take this nice and slow. If you're more familiar with the layout, I typically run past mobs, group them up, and then use my totems. But this is how I play my totem character. I'm typically in the front, drawing all the aggro with my totems, zombies, skeletons, all my different adds. Other than that, if you're playing more of a ranged character, you just want to clear room by room and then slowly find the last boss. Typically this zone can be a little tricky for people, but if you've leveled up high enough, it's pretty simple. And the last thing we need to do is kill the final boss, which I'm all sure you're scared of. I was scared of the first time I did it. I make sure I have over 4,000 life as my Totem Templar. If you're a ranged character, maybe you want to be somewhere around 3,500, 3,000, but his rocks are going to hit for a lot of damage, so you're going to make sure that you have high armor for the rocks, and then high lightning resist for the shock he does. Other than that, I typically like to do this in as big a party as possible, just because of the safety for you individually. Your chance of getting hit by the lightning and the rocks is a lot lower if there's 6 people on the screen than if it was you doing it by yourself or just you and 2 other people. Each person added up, you get less chance to getting hit. So now that we're at the boss, we're going to invite a few other people, make it a public, or try to get some help to take this guy down. I tried to get a few higher level friends to come, but everybody didn't want to come. It was a little risky. So I think we had mostly 60 to 70 characters in this party. So this boss can be a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people, but what you want to do is you want to have at least one person with a lot of summons. That was me in this case. I surrounded the boss by skeletons the whole time, as you'll see coming up. And this way he does not melee as much other people. He can only do one attack. He can either melee or shoot his lightning or summon adds. He can't like do all in at the same time. So he prioritizes certain things differently. But if you surround him with skeletons, he's going to melee them more often, and that will keep him from doing the other attacks, the ice and the lightning. So it's very safe for your party if you just surround the boss with skeletons. Also, I have a lot of ranged characters in this party, and they all typically sit back, and I just drop my totems and my skeletons and run around trying to not take too much damage. When I did this boss, you can see I have about 4,000 life and about 1,500 energy shield. I ran Discipline just for the energy shield buff. And then I also wore a lot of extra gear with high life to make this as safe as possible. I also use Molten Shell and a Granite Flask. If I get hit by a rock, you're going to want to drop that as quickly as possible, so that way you take reduced damage. If you need to, just port back to town, get your refresh. If you can do this boss with 2 granites, and then if you have them quality, and there someone died. I am Samurai. So he didn't have quite the lightning resist or the health, I don't think. So 1 death is pretty common in this place. I've heard of parties that lose 3-4 people, no problem. But they're usually under-leveled and under-geared, which is why I like to farm Fell Shrine for so long, to make sure that you have the levels and the gear required for this boss. Because this boss is probably the hardest thing you've done in the game up to this point. And he might be the hardest thing you do total, just because of after this you're just going to grind maps. And maps are a little bit difficult, but you can always just out-level or pick the maps that are going to be right for you. So guys, thanks for watching.